Yes, good afternoon, everybody. It's the dog with you. Another edition of Weber This Week here on FingerLakes1.com. Happy spring to all of you. Tomorrow, spring officially kicks in. And that fourth northeaster that was going to go up the coast and bury us again with snow, I don't think it's going to affect us one iota. Thank God. Past the strawberries, because we're not going to get that storm. And I'm thrilled. I know my wife is, and everybody around the area is not looking for any more snow. Maybe we're on our end and we're ready to have some decent weather. And according to the forecast later in the week, we're talking maybe mid-40s, which will feel like 70. Well, the dog here, along with our producer, owner, director, Jim Senacropi. And, folks, we're going to have on the day. We're going to talk about with Jimmy. I'm going to be actually interviewing Jimmy. He had just completed and brought back memories of when I used to do 25 or 30 games a year. And I haven't done any games the last couple of years, but you never know. I may try to go back and do a couple next year. But Jimmy just completed like 3 to 4 months of unbelievable basketball. Not only is he calling the games, which he does a great job with, if he's not calling them, he's most of the time directing them and overseeing the team. And Jim, I got to tell you something, pal. I've been in your seat. I've never done 44. You told me we did 44 basketball broadcasts from start to end, with all the sectional and the state coverage. You got to feel a little bit relieved knowing that finally can give you a chance to recover a little bit now.
It's a long season, but we love it. And when the local teams do well, it makes the season longer because we try to cover every single one of them throughout the entire postseason. And the Mid-Lakes girls went all the way to Albany, and so did we. And Far West Regional games with South Seneca girls again had another great season. 3 straight sectional titles. The Mid-Lakes girls season was historic. The Clyde boys
phenomenal.
Captured a sectional title and went to Buffalo State before losing. And it was the Wayne boys, another sectional title, second in a row, after last year winning the first one in their school history.
Mm-hmm. Zach Young had a good year. Lions.
Yeah, Lions, of course, won a sectional title as well, and it was a big win for Zach. It was his third, but for Justice Smith, he was our FL1 Sports Boys Wayne Finger Lakes Player of the Year. As a junior, he won a sectional title, the school's 18th.
Wow.
And, came through at the Blue Cross Arena. I think he had 33 points, and nice. And he'll be back next year, and they're legitimate state title contenders next year.
That's great.
But, they didn't even win Wayne County this year. The Clyde boys won. Clyde Savannah boys won Wayne County, and both of them won sectional titles, Clyde in D1 and Lions in C2, defeating a really good Perry team. And then losing to North Star Christian in the game that would have got them to the state Final Four in Binghamton. So, it was a great season. We have our Upstate Hoops podcast final episode on Sunday, and our end-of-the-year video hopefully will be ready to go by then, and then we'll worry about basketball again in the fall.
That's right. And but for people that may not know what Jim owns this place, and he has amazing capability of getting out and covering all these games. And what I don't think people realize, people ask me all the time what it's like to work here. And I think me and Jim have been together over 6 years. And having done play-by-play, and like I say, my job as a play-by-play guy when I was doing them a couple of years ago, and then when I stopped doing them, take a break. And I got to tell you, my job to go in, Jim has everything set up. The engineering people have everything ready to go. Jeremy and all the camera people are positioned. Everything. Jim has everything really detailed, these broadcasts. And I put on the headset. Jim would give me and whoever I was working with directions on how we were going to proceed with the broadcast. And but the beauty of it is, after the game, I just took my headset off, got my coat, and left. He and his other guys, the camera guys usually, had to haul out all that equipment. And that's not what I don't think people realize what's involved with what he does. He not only has to get back to Seneca Falls, he doesn't go to bed when he arrives back here, because we might go home, but he goes down to his studio and he has to put together a recap of tonight of the action, has to put it on Finger Lakes 1, has to make sure that it's choreographed in a way that people are going to watch it, or in some cases listen to it if it's a radio coverage. So I think, Jim, you really deserve a lot of credit for what you do as leading leader of the team. Speaking of the team, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't run down the team. Jimmy, if you can remember all the members of the team, let's send some love their way. Let's start off with, obviously, yourself, but give us the play-by-play broadcasters that worked with you.
Brendan Harrington and Dave Barnick this year, three guys on play-by-play. We could use more.
Right.
And then color commentators would be...
Got a bunch.
I should have made a list.
That's all right.
Tani Robinson.
Right.
Mike Alessio, Matt Verkey.
Right.
I can't believe it.
Kevin Sharp.
Oh, yeah. Kevin Sharp came on board this year. He was phenomenal. Nick Ciotti did games this year for us. Jerry Anderson came on, the Minders girls coach for the postseason run, did some South Seneca and Mid Lakes girls games, which was a real treat because nobody knew the Mid Lakes girls better than he did, and he also knows the South Seneca girls pretty good, and just girls basketball in general.
Sure.
So that was great having him on board. Rhett Taccone did some games with us this year. He's done some games in the past, Lions games. He's great for Lions games because he was on the 1989 state championship Lions team. So, yeah, we got a great team. Jeremy and Jason Hunt on the production end, Harrison DeMaria and Ryan Sowards running cameras.
Nice.
Geez, I hope I'm not forgetting somebody because
well, I think we should send some love to that team because having worked with the team before I stopped doing them a couple of years ago, I realized how hard they work to get these broadcasts on the air and do a phenomenal job. So to Jim and to all the team, from yours truly, who's had many, many years of doing this, I salute you all. Great job. And everybody connected to Finger Lakes One and the coverage that we did during the course of some 44 events is exceptional. So take a bow. Guys, you deserve it. Well, I want to just point out something, too, as far as the format of this show. I've talked to Jimmy and I made some decisions relatively to thinking about the way we do things on the Weber Show. And certainly, we're not going to make major drastic changes. But one thing we are going to do, and I've talked to Jimmy, when I first joined Jimmy, I was doing commentaries every week, and we were talking sports talk, and Jimmy would put up some pictures of areas that I wanted to get into and do commentaries, etc., whatever. And Jim and me would go back and forth. We're going to do more of that than we have done the last couple of years. We're still going to have guests here. Don't get wrong. We're not going to have guests. But we're not going to have guests every week. We're going to do a lot of this talk that I'm doing right now with Jim. And we're going to talk about, like next week, we're going to continue our dialogue because next week we'll be talking about the Final Four. And Jim would love to be talking about Syracuse, and we'll get to Syracuse in a minute. So the format will slightly change. We won't have guests every single week on the Weber Show. However, if you want to come on as a guest, and you have an important topic to discuss, send me an email or send it to Jimmy. I think it's contact at fingerlakes1.com, right, Jim?
Yep.
So it's contact at fingerlakes1.com. I'm not saying we're not going to have guests. If you have an important topic to discuss with me and our audience, feel free to let me know. We'll definitely book you as a guest. I'm sure we're still going to have Seneca Metals folks come in. I'm sure we're going to have Del Lago folks come in. And I'm sure we're going to have very worthy charity people that want to talk about their cause. All I'm saying is we're going to have a lot of these shows too, which is me and Jim going back and forth on some sports topics, which I think is important as well. So with that, I want to talk to Jimmy first off about SU before we take our break. The Syracuse Orangemen, how about 96% of the nation felt they should not have made the tournament, 95 or so. The whole country thought it was outrageous, unless you're a graduate of SU like Jim is, or unless you're an SU follower, some 27, 30,000 people show up at the Dome, they'll watch them, and that's a kudos to the Syracuse following. But I would say at least 90 to 95% of the nation thought Oklahoma State should have got in, Syracuse should have stayed home.
Well, Notre Dame was the first team out, not Syracuse. So if Syracuse didn't get in, Notre Dame would have gotten in.
Yeah. But a lot of people were upset. And I mean, Dick Vitale, who likes Bayham, I guess, but he was embroiled. And a lot of the commentators on ESPN went bonkers about the Syracuse. You saw it too, Jim. They went bonkers about SU getting selected. So SU gets selected. They got to play a play-in game with Arizona State. They win. They're underdogs by 1.5, game one. They win. Then they got to play TCU, the Horned Frogs. They're 3.5-point underdogs. They win. Then they go and play Michigan State yesterday. Was it yesterday?
Oh, yeah.
Yesterday, Michigan State. 8.5-point underdogs. They win.
10-point underdogs.
10 point. It went to 10. It was 8.5 when I looked it up.
Opened at 12.
Yeah. So now they won all 3 underdog wins. And by the way, yesterday's game, Howard is out with 5 minutes to play. Their centers are in foul trouble, and SU somehow finds a way to pull out that big victory at their home, the home stadium, pretty much. At Michigan State. It was in Detroit.
Yep.
So, I mean, they had the home crowd. So you really got to tip your cat. And, oh, by the way, as I posted on Facebook this morning, they go to a Sweet 16 next week. Omaha, Nebraska, taking on the tough Duke Blue Devils. Oh, the line opens up at 12. Mm-hmm. So my point in this whole commentary that I'm doing right now, SU is like Rodney Dangerfield. And I think I mentioned that this morning on the Facebook that I posted. They get no respect. Never get a favorite role. They're always underdogs. And I guess Boeheim and the rest of those guys just go out and play basketball, right, Jim? That's all they do.
Well,
first
of all, anybody that said they thought that they didn't deserve to be in doesn't pay attention. Every bubble team has flaws, and I think people around here just focus on Syracuse. So every time they lose a game in February, they think, well, they're done now.
Yeah.
But they had the 18th strength of schedule, 18th hardest out of conference strength of schedule in the country. They had 20 wins, and they played in a power conference. And so if you think that they didn't have any chance of getting in, you're crazy. So when I sat down to watch the selection show, who knows? Every year when Syracuse is on the bubble, sometimes they make it, sometimes they don't. That's the nature of being on the bubble. And, to say that Notre Dame deserved to, and Notre Dame just lost to Penn State in the NIT. I mean, if you put yourself on the bubble, there's a chance you're going to get in, there's a chance you're going to get out. But that's the nature of being on the bubble. So Syracuse got in, and then, Boeheim has orchestrated a run to another Sweet 16. So everybody's going to have to deal with it. Too bad. A Michigan State fan, sorry that you – sorry. And that's the other thing. Everybody said to me, Syracuse's offense is terrible. Well, apparently not as bad as Michigan State because we scored 2 more points than they did.
What did Michigan State miss about the last 13 shots? Something like that.
They were 8 of 27, I think, from 3, maybe even more. And 2 of them were banked in.
Yeah.
One of them a desperation.
Amazing.
Right
at that shot. So and by the way, give SU a lot of credit when you consider the rebounding stats. Oh, my God, SU got crushed with the rebounding. Michigan State owned them on the boards, up and down, up and down. I didn't know if Syracuse was ever going to get the basketball in a few of those possessions, but you got to give Boeheim credit. Somehow, some way.
Well, it's his plan.
That's
and people say, well, they're not running any half-court offense, which sometimes that bothers me too. But you know what he's doing? He's letting the shot clock run down. He's limiting the possessions between the two teams because he knows he has a short bench.
Yep.
And they need to expend their energy in the zone on defense, and it's good enough to win. So whatever, 30-4 Michigan State. Sorry, you're done. We'll play next week against Duke. And I hate the Duke matchup because they're familiar with the zone, and I think it's going to be tough. Our run might end there, but who knows? Let's play it. Let's see what happens. Duke has young. Syracuse is relatively young too, but a lot of Duke's players. This is their first time in the NCAA tournament, and so we'll see what happens.
Bagley's tough. Mark,
obviously they're all great.
That kid, Grayson Allen, he's playing out of his mind. He's having a good year. Yeah, I mean, it should be a good game. I mean, the odds, I don't like the start time again. I always complain about the start time. 9:40, 9:45. By the time they tip, it'll be 9:50. Jim doesn't mind because he's up till godforsaken hours of the night. Me, I like to go to bed early, so that drove me nuts thinking about that. But anyways, 9:40, 9:45, and CBS obviously having it Friday. So, hey, you never know. Well, listen, we got some different comments to make regarding charity events, plugging certain events. We're going to get to that, but let's take our commercial break here on Weber This Week on a Monday, the 19th of good old March. Good to be with you, folks. Acting as a gateway to the Finger Lakes, Del Lago leverages the natural beauty and unique offerings while enhancing tourism in the region. The casino features 2,000 slot machines, 89 gaming tables, including 12 poker tables, portico by Fabio Viviani, a 2,400-person entertainment center, farmers market buffet. The hotel, spa, and banquet facility will open summer 2017. Cayuga Lake National Bank. Visit Bill Ryan and his team for all of your banking needs. Offices in Union Springs and Aurora, a fine sponsor of this show for over 30 years. DA Liquor on Bridge Street in Seneca Falls. Amy Padula and her team will find the right spirit for you every time. When you stop in, tell Amy the dog sent you. The Gold Hotel welcomes you to come out and enjoy the revitalization of this historic downtown Seneca Falls landmark. Every Wednesday is Ladies' Night with special price drinks and half-priced appetizers. The Omen Theater on William Street in Lyons. See what's playing this week at omentheater.com. Located off New York State Thruway Exit 41, the McGee Diner has earned their reputation as a popular family restaurant, serving country fresh home-cooked meals daily. Stop in for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and check out their menu at mcgeediner.com. The Child Advocacy Center of the Finger Lakes is a child-friendly location where allegations of physical or sexual abuse are responded to by a multidisciplinary team of professionals. The team works together to conduct a thorough investigation and to provide necessary support services to children and their non-offending caregivers with a goal of minimizing further trauma to a child. Seneca Metals is an award-winning company that has earned a reputation of going above and beyond to protect the environment and support their community. As an EPA inspector once said, their operation is head and shoulders above the rest. And the Newark Pilots of the Perfect Game Collegiate Baseball League, a minor league team with a major league ballpark. Season ticket packages available at newarkpilots.com. And the Wilson Press in Seneca Falls. My good pal Rich Rickey and his team can handle all of your printing and mailing needs. Visit them online at wpress.com. Welcome back, everybody. It's a dog with you with another edition of Weber This Week on the 19th of March. Hope you all had a nice St. Patty's Day. You didn't get stupid and get too much booze in you. The old corned beef, I do it once a year. It was fun the other night. We went over to Abigail's with friends of ours, Gene and Sandy Lopez. We had a nice time. So, by the way, a couple of messages to pass along for various events. Our good sponsor, Seneca Metals, my good friend out there, Marcy Newmeyer, who is the manager of community relations, always sends me these events that they always host out there. Camouflage Egg Hunt. Test your family's powers of observation as you scour our lawn for camouflaged eggs. The family team that finds the most eggs wins. To register, give a call out to 315-539-5624. That's at Seneca Metals Educational Center, 1977 State Route 414, Seneca Falls. It's going to be coming up this Saturday, March 24th from 3 to 4 o'clock. It's a free program, and it's a family affair. That, of course, coming from my friend Marcy out at Seneca Metals. By the way, calling all runners and walkers, help give cancer the middle finger by participating in the second annual Middle Finger 5K coming up on May 5th of this year. Register by visiting www.thrivetosurvive.org. Registration includes a quality t-shirt and breakfast at the Pure House Restaurant following the 5K. We sold out last year, so register today. 100% of the funds raised go directly to support adults in our community living with that dreadful disease called cancer. And speaking of events, the Child Advocacy Center of the Finger Lakes, their 4th annual dinner is coming up. Make a note if you would. It's on April the 19th. It's going to be held at the King's Catering and Party House in beautiful Canandaigua. Cocktail hour, silent auction, 5:30. Dinner starts at 6:45. It is $60 per person, $100 a couple. Tickets online at www.cacfingerlakes.org or give a call to 585-394-2573. That number again to take part in attending this wonderful annual dinner for the Child Advocacy Center. Give a call out at 585-394-2573. Well, back here on the Dog Show with about 9 minutes to go, we're going to talk a little bit about Tiger Woods. But I want to remind everybody that, we'll get to that later in the show about Judge Bender coming on in a few weeks. Jimmy, Tiger Woods, I know you're a golf nut, and I'm sure your clubs are going to get cleaned up soon as April 1st begins the golf season. Tiger Woods, believe it or not, playing phenomenal and I have to be honest with you. You saw him, and I saw him when he was trying to fight those surgeries, and he wasn't obviously productive. He bent over. He was in excruciating pain. He went in for more surgery. Out another 9 months. Comes back out, plays to a 41 handicap. Back collapses on him. Everyone's saying, put a fork in him. He's done. All of a sudden, several months ago, he does this fusion back surgery. Fusion. Whatever they fused up on his back, I want to tell you, Jim, and I tip my cap to my buddy Mark Sherman, who you know very well. Mark told me months ago that Tiger Woods would come back like the old Tiger, and I laughed at him. I said, you're out of your mind. He'll be lucky to make a cut. Well, he's 42 years old, and I must tip my cap to Sherman. He called it. This guy...
Well, wait a second.
Well, he's hitting the ball long. I mean,
he's not back like the old Tiger.
Well, no.
The old Tiger would have won at Bay Hill by 4 shots.
Yeah, okay, but in any event, he's swinging at it. I've never seen him.
I can't believe that his swing speed's so fast. I'm wondering if he didn't use some of the billions of dollars that he has to do something.
But 128. I mean, 128 club. That's amazing.
Yeah, I don't understand how he can swing faster than Dustin Johnson.
Unbelievable.
Or some of the other guys.
He's killing it off the tee. Yeah. Now, granted, he killed it off the tee and hit Jim and his wife Kathleen having a hot dog barbecue in the back of their lawn on 16 yesterday when it was crunch time. Even though he probably wouldn't have won it, Rory went on one of his runs and he finished 18 under. Tiger might have got to 13, 14, even 15. It still would have been up short. But what I'm amazed at, and I was totally wrong. You watch Woods, and he's driving it, for the most part, somewhat in play, and he's killing the ball. And his irons aren't bad. He's putting it darn well. And all of a sudden, the odds makers in Vegas and around the globe that take legal betting have him as the Masters' favorite, 8-1. What do you think of that? Surprised?
No. I mean, people want him to come back so bad. I don't think he's the favorite at Augusta. That's crazy. But he hasn't won an event since he's come back, but he's been in contention the last 2 weeks, and that alone's been very exciting for people who follow golf. I was one of the guys that said he was done.
Unbelievable.
It's amazing to me that he is back playing as well as he has. But what people don't realize is what made Tiger great, and the reason he won tournaments was his short game and putting. And he made a putt 2 weeks ago on the 17th green that was kind of like, wow, now there's like the old Tiger. But, I don't know. It's amazing. He's been in contention for 2 weeks in a row. It's really is hard to believe. I still am suspect because all the other competition is so good.
Yes.
And I haven't seen him have to hole a 7 to 10 foot par putt on the 17th hole to stay with a one-shot lead or anything like that. So that'll be interesting to see. It's unbelievably interesting to watch.
Yeah.
But I was one of those guys that said Tiger was done, never coming back.
I was too.
But again, what's back mean? Like, I'm surprised he's back to this point where he can compete on a PGA Tour and make cuts and be in contention. Some people want him to come back and win multiple majors.
I don't see that. I don't know if that's going to happen.
Who knows? He's Tiger Woods. Anything can happen. But I'm not celebrating the fact that he's back like the old Tiger, because he's not. But he's in contention again on PGA Tour events at age 42.
Pretty amazing.
Pretty amazing.
What amazes me, and what I agree with you on, one of your arguments is, can he win? A couple things that I'm going to talk about. I got 5 minutes. I'm not going to take 5 minutes to tell you this, but my view on Tiger is, and I'm a professional golf watcher. I love watching the coverage. When I'm working, I always tape it. The thing I am drawn to is the fact when he was dominating the tour, he beat the living hell out of the Ernie Els, the Vijay Singhs.
For the most part, Vijay was pretty dominant for a few years over Tiger.
Yeah, but he beat up on these guys pretty soundly.
Mickelson.
He would walk with his red shirt and scare the living hell out of these guys when they were warming up to play the final round. Nobody denied his superior play, and he dominated them. My argument that it may not happen for two reasons. Jim pointed out the talent level today, these young bucks. Let's talk about Jon Rahm. Let's talk about Jordan Spieth. Let's talk about Dustin Johnson. Let's talk about Justin Thomas. We can talk about
you go on and on naming
young guys. Are just amazing talent pool that is out there now. Is it to me more difficult than it was when he was on his run? I think it is. These young kids come out of college, they're ready to play. Jon Rahm, a good example. Kids fearless. They're not intimidated by Tiger Woods.
Well, a guy like Justin Thomas grew up watching Tiger,
right.
and now he's not going to be intimidated.
No.
He's going to be excited that he gets a chance to play against him.
And to beat him.
Yeah, it'll be different than it was back when he was coming up beating the older guys.
Mm-hmm. Now, the other point I was going to make, and Jim, I think, would agree with me on this. Tiger Woods is unlike most people, he doesn't play the Milwaukee Open. He doesn't play the Quad Cities. He'll never play those events. He will only play Torrey Pines, certain events where he'll go to.
Well, the last two tournaments he's been contending in are tournaments that he's fond of the course layout. But he's very fussy where he goes. He can do whatever he wants.
Right, he can.
Doesn't need the money.
Right,
Doesn't need the exemptions either. He'll be exempt for as long as he wants to play.
Exactly. So he won't go to a regular stop per se, in my view, that often. He might throw one in once in a while, like he's played the last 2 weeks because he wanted to see how his back would hold up, and it's worked out well.
Yeah, but Bay Hill is a place he's had more success than anywhere.
That's true. But he went and he added Valspar. Mm-hmm. So my argument is, I think he's very selective where he plays. He's got too much pride, and he's too egotistical to say, I'm going to play some Mickey Mouse tournament like the Bob Hope. Never see him there. My point is, he's very selective where he plays, and I think playing against these young, talented guys, and there's so many of them, I think his stretch of winning might be a little far-fetched, in my view. Could he win? Yeah. Will he win? I'm not so sure. That's just my view. We'll have to wait and see how it turns out.
Well, I think if this past 2 weeks has shown anything, he probably will win. Will he win the Masters or a major? Sure. I don't know. I want to see him in contention on Sunday in the back, as everybody does. Yep. But until I see him perform well and make putts down the stretch of the back nine at a major, then I don't. Not ready to declare he's back. There's some people that now think that he's a favorite to break Nicklaus's major record again, but 42 isn't that old.
No.
But whatever they did to his back, whatever they fused in there, they must have put in like some sort of
steel rods,
bionic.
It's amazing. Yeah. I see him swing at the ball now, and I go, "My God!"
But he's obviously not hooked on painkillers anymore or any of that. His head's clear. His personal life is probably a little more in order, maybe. Who knows? But it's to me, it's amazing that I never would have thought he would have gotten this far. So who am I to say he won't be able to get over the top? But I'm not. If I had to predict, no, he's not going to win the Masters. He won't win another major.
Yep.
But
time will tell.
But who knows?
It is amazing, folk. When you look at the statistics, even though I don't follow golf statistics, if you've never watched the golf coverage, check it out. Seriously, he won't be playing again until the Masters. He's not going to play. He's not eligible to play the World Golf Championship match play starting Wednesday, and he's not playing Houston. So the next time you get a chance to see him, and there'll be a huge audience for him, obviously for the Masters, which is unlike any other tournament. But if you've never watched a golf tournament ever, check it out. You won't believe it. You won't believe his club head speed. It's
assuming he makes the cut.
That's right. But you can still watch the first 2 days.
Yeah.
But just watch him swinging that club. It's mind-boggling. His statistics outdo Dustin Johnson.
His tournament, his appearance at the Masters will be the first time he's had really incredible pressure on him to be in contention.
I agree.
He's been playing with, house money for these last couple events where people are just like, wow. But now people are making him the favorite.
It's amazing. 8-1 odds, folks. So that means you put down $100, you get $800 back if he wins. Hey, by the way, before we sign off, it's been good talking to Jimmy about all these sports topics. We're going to do a lot more of this in the future. By the way, we have a special guest coming up at the end of April. We booked him. Judge Dennis Bender is forced to retire, unfortunately. As of the 27th of April is his final day on the bench because of the New York State dumb law, which I'd say is a dumb law, barring any judge to continue after 70, which makes no sense to me because I believe, even though I'm going to be 73 next month, 70 today is like 60, okay? So they shouldn't get rid of these judges if they have their faculties, and I think Judge Bender still has his faculties. That's kind of a dumb law, but he's forced to retire because of his age. So he's last day. They're going to have a party for him on the 27th of April, and myself and Mary are definitely going to attend that. On the 30th of April, he'll be in here for a special interview on his work behind the bench and all that he's done for the great Seneca County. Well, speaking for my friend Jim Senecropian, owner here at FingerLakes1.com, hope you enjoyed this show. We'll see you next week, folks, for another edition of Weber This Week.